designed for an orphanage, which is again in the Mujib's hometown, that is Calicut, where our second office is. And it is, in fact, it was done. Uh, it was designed, of course, and executed over a period of time, because this was done by masons and people who did not really understand design. So, architecture is not just about a design that you do. The ultimate goal is to make that happen, to make it stand. Make it, build it, make it stand, and it requires a lot of process that you need to go through. So again, this project is a very tiny project. It's a single building for a primary school. As you can see, the windows, the colors that you can see over here are playful colors used because of the primary school kids being involved, and they could identify their class by saying, okay, that color. And then the large windows are there, of course, because this was uh, a building which was designed for an orphanage. The budget was pretty low, and you can go to the next slide. So the budget was pretty low, and we had to make sure that we make the use of natural light to the maximum. So the windows are large to make sure the light comes in. At the same time, this is in Kerala, which is a city, which is a place where rainfall is heavy. So we needed to shade it also. So you can see these kind of boxes coming out and overhangs to make sure that it is shaded from the rains, and yet it gives in a lot of sunlight to make sure that there is ample light in the classroom for the students. So these are a few things. I'm going to be very, very specific about just the pointers of the design parts that we applied over here. Yeah.
So what she's trying to tell you is that uh, you know design doesn't have a cost attached to it. So that's another thing that you're going to learn as you learn more about architecture. That if if you kind of come up with the excuse that okay, my design is bad, or I couldn't design it well because the budget was a constraint, that's not an excuse. So this project didn't have any budget. Uh, in fact, no budget, so to say. We almost achieved the same. We had the same budget of what the typical building that you see around, the indescript building that you see all around you. Our budget was exactly that. So, but we could convince the management that we could still work within the budget to create something beautiful and something highly innovative. So that's it. So there is, uh, you know, design is not really dependent on the budget. It is dependent on the budget to some extent, but it doesn't mean that you pour more money, you're gonna get a better design. So if you see the next project, that's a very expensive
So
project.
I would put it like that: the life of the project's existence is dependent on the budget, because the materials that you can use, the specifications that you can use, is what matters in terms of that. That's where the budget comes into play. But purely design is not really dependent on the budget.
Yeah, next. Okay, this is a project that we completed in Bangalore for an IT park. It's a research center. It's an R&D center, research and development center, where the client, where all the uh, occupiers, occupants are, all the tenants are multinational companies, and the client wanted a truly international, highly innovative, out-of-the-box project. So this is a case where this is one of the dream project you could get. So we are showing you different levels of project that we have done, which kind of a different brief and a different scope and a different kind of expectations from the client. But this is a case where the client wanted something out of the world. No out of the world projects have unlimited budgets. Let me tell you that. Okay, it also came with huge budget constraints, uh, but we had much larger play. We could bring in all kinds of customization in this project because everything in this project is customized from the seating, from the lighting, you name it. But this is one of the projects that you always want to work on every time in the studio. But you might not get this kind of project all the time. But this is what we could do when an opportunity presents itself.
So when the client, in fact, came to us, the only thing the client had said was, because the client himself is a builder. So of course they had a very well-known structural designer um as the structural consultant for this project. And what you see on top is the waffle slab. So the only brief that the client gave, of course, the program was there, but the only brief that the client gave us was that he wants the waffle slab to be exposed, open, untouched, which means no false ceiling. So we took that, in fact, as the cue, and in fact, the most captivating and the central feature of this whole design is what you see is those lights which are there, which is like forming from like a tree from the central column. What we call, in fact, we name most of our projects. So what we call this project is reflected topography. So for the reason the design was born out of the reflection of the waffle slab. So that is what it was. So that's it.
Okay, next. So that's some more images to tell you what the space is. Next. That's a house that is being built in Kerala at the moment. So just to give you an understanding, it's different scales, different context, and how, as an architect, you should respond. Next. So that's a project that we did with Jürgen Meyer, the collaboration Jürgen Meyer. If you look at a project called the Metropole Parasol in Seville, we call it Sevilla in Spain. I'm sure that some of you would have seen it.